talking about situations for over more than a decade and a half. And then all of a sudden everybody woke up like, whoa.
Shore just dropped Kim Porter's real autopsy report, and he did it in court. Al says that the story we've been told about Kim's death is not the full truth, and that Diddy is the one responsible. We've heard Al speak about this before, but this time around he's putting real receipts behind his claims and pointing to the idea that Kim didn't pass because of pneumonia. Now let's break down what that report says, why he believes there was foul play, and how this ties into the bigger picture, including the people who were closest to him. It was a lot.
It was a lot of the stuff, came to surprise, but a lot of the stuff will be revealed because, and that's why I thought it would be a good idea to finally tell my story. Every network came to me.
Let's start with foul play. Unless you've been living under a rock, you notice that Diddy's name is all over federal court documents now. Al's stepping into the courtroom spotlight too. Just the other day, he told us that he's been subpoenaed and will be testifying soon.
But one thing is, you have volunteered to testify at the trial, correct?
Not as of yet. Actually, I was subpoenaed.
Okay.
So my attorneys worked something out. So I believe when the time is right, I'm going to discuss it with my attorney.
The idea that a vibrant 47-year-old could suddenly succumb to pneumonia without any chronic illness on record just doesn't track. Al points to red flag details he claims were never explained: reports of blood on Kim's pillowcases, a trail leading toward the bathroom, and gaps in the timeline between her last known call and when she was found.
Do you believe that she died of pneumonia?
Absolutely not.
The idea that a vibrant 47-year-old could suddenly succumb to pneumonia without any chronic illness on record just doesn't track. Al points to red flag details he claims were never explained: reports of blood on Kim's pillowcases, a trail leading toward the bathroom, and gaps in the timeline between her last known call and when she was found.
She was in the best of health. We just saw each other prior to her passing. We were actually celebrating our son's new Netflix Christmas special.
Phoned, and they know that iPhone put all that together, and the official story falls apart. But the coroner's office stands by its report: lobar pneumonia. Nothing more, nothing less. No evidence of foul play. Kim's children have echoed that finding and asked the public to stop chasing conspiracies. On social media, still, Al isn't backing down. He keeps pressing for a formal investigation and hinting that the truth is bigger and darker than anyone's ready to admit. And can you blame him? There are others who suffered the same or similar fate as Kim, and they were also close to Diddy. Kim Porter and Brittany Murphy had the same cause of death, and we could ask the same questions about her passing. Brittany died back in 2009, also from pneumonia, at just 32, healthy, young, rich. So how does pneumonia take both of them out? That's what people been asking for years. Here's the thing, though: same coroner Ed Winter handled both cases. And in Brittany's case, her pop said they found crazy high levels of metals in her hair and accused somebody of poisoning her. Her mom said it might have just been mold in their house. But could that really be it? Her husband was also skeptical.
And in the report, didn't it say she had blood on the pillow and bruises or something like that?
Some are saying Brittany had ties to Diddy's world, not like Kim, but she might have known things she wasn't supposed to. But it don't stop there. Other names keep popping up. Aaron Carter died from pneumonia too, and he claimed he had tea on Diddy. Jamie Foxx straight up said he was poisoned, and folks on the internet are side-eyeing Diddy for that one too. But let's get back to Kim, and I'll be sure Al's been pushing for the FBI to step in, and he's made it clear he thinks someone, probably Diddy, is covering something up. Al told us that Kim had her private notes, which were stolen after she died. According to Al, the version of her diary that ended up out there was fake, and it was only meant to silence the real story. Also, let's not brush past the fact that Al, be sure, hinted that Diddy may have had something to do with his own health scare in 2022, where he almost died from liver failure. That man came out of a coma, and the first thing he did was start talking about Kim and warning people to look deeper.
Why come right till today, right now, nobody knows what Kim Porter phone is? And they know they had iPhone.
Now let's talk about that for a second, and then we'll get back to Kim. And Al, back in 2022, Al sure went through hell, like real life or death stuff. It all started when he collapsed while working on some new music. They rushed him to the hospital, and things got super serious super fast. Doctors ended up putting him in a medically induced coma, and he stayed under for nearly 2 months. During the time, his body was basically failing. Multiple organs started shutting down, including his kidneys. The one thing that saved his life was a liver transplant. Al described it as a chevron cut, meaning they literally had to open him wide across the chest to get it done. After he finally woke up, the recovery was brutal. He had to learn how to walk again, talk again, everything, but Al pulled through.
Just imagine people putting you on a pedestal. Who's the easiest person to shoot at? The highest point. Clear target.
Since then, Al has been heavily implying that his health scare wasn't just bad luck. He's hinted multiple times that Diddy may have been involved, suggesting some kind of foul play. He's tied his own health collapse to the same type of shady circumstances people whisper about when it comes. The Kim's passing choke, no joke, told us about it too. Then Al Bore come out and kind of seemingly suggest that Diddy was a part of his stroke, or what he had going on, and I ain't want to say his name, but well, thank you at this very moment, there's no official evidence to back those claims up. Al keeps saying that more will be revealed either in his memoir, The Diddy Trial, or an upcoming documentary. Even if the real autopsy hasn't hit the courtroom table just yet, don't be surprised if Al makes that move when the time comes, if he shows up in court and says the same thing that he's been saying publicly for years. It will seriously damage Diddy's image, especially now that his character is under the spotlight. But how would Al Shore be in possession of all the real autopsy receipts? Well, he and Kim go way back before Kim got with Diddy. She was actually with Al Shore. They had a son together, Quincy, and Kim once confirmed that Al's track Forever My Lady was inspired by her. According to Al, they were even married. He first mentioned that in a Fox Soul interview, saying he doesn't usually chase clout or attention, but when he posted a tribute recently, he casually referred to Kim as his ex-wife, something most people didn't know since they never talked publicly about being married. Even after they split, they kept things cool, and if there's one person who's been consistent about questioning the circumstances around Kim's death, it's Al. He's been saying for a while now that something about it just doesn't sit right. In November of 2021, Al dropped a post saying Kim was running from someone or something before she died, and he even claimed he told her to call the FBI. But get this, after posting it, Al went back and edited the caption, changing it to say Kim was running a marathon. At edit had folks side-eyeing the whole thing like he either got spooked or was told to take it down. But there's more. Also shared footage of the exact morning he found out Kim had passed, and y'all, he said it ripped the soul out of his body. He straight up said, I know very clearly that Kimberly didn't just check out all of a sudden over pneumonia. That's some BS. He even tagged Diddy in the post. He wanted him to see it personally. Al pointed out that just days before Kim died, they were all at a Netflix event celebrating their son Quincy. He said Kim was healthy, vibrant, laughing. It didn't make sense how she could suddenly pass away from pneumonia like that. So when people ask why Al Shore is speaking out now, well, it seems like some of y'all didn't do your homework. He's always been saying something was off. People just weren't listening, or they thought he was being dramatic. But now that Diddy's in the hot seat, those old posts are coming back like receipts, and Al is standing on what he said. And let's be clear, he's still repeating these same claims today, which is exactly why folks are wondering if he's planning to unleash the full truth in court once he gets up on that stand. Because if what he's hinting at is real, then it will make Diddy look even more guilty than he does already. Now, this begs the question, why would someone like Diddy want Kim and Al gone to begin with? Well, let's open that can of worms, because it's interesting to notice that all the people who used to work for Uptown Records, except Al, somehow died, and under mysterious circumstances, too. In fact, it was called the Uptown Records curse. So here's the deal. A lot of folks who came up under Diddy during his Uptown Records days have either passed away young or had some real shady situations happen. Andre Harold, who literally gave Diddy his start, died in 2020 from heart failure. He was only 59. Heavy D passed in 2011 at just 44 from a pulmonary embolism after collapsing outside his house last. But not least Kim. She started out as Diddy's assistant at Uptown and later became the mother of his kids. She died in 2018. And don't forget the 1991 City College Stampede, a celebrity basketball game Diddy and Heavy D promoted, where 9 people died in a crowd crush. Those victims weren't Uptown employees, but it's still tied to that same circle, another tragic mark in the timeline. So is there really a pattern? Officially, all the deaths.
And he adopted Quincy, you know what I'm saying? And it's nothing else you could do to a man, in my eyes, to break him down than to take his woman and adopt.
Have medical explanations: heart failure, embolism, pneumonia. But some folks think it's too many coincidences. Like, why are all these people who came up around Diddy either gone or have been through hell? Nobody has proven anything, but the internet never forgets. It looked for the longest time that Diddy would get away with all the things that we both know and don't know about. This guy was always a shady figure ever since he came up on the scene. But it looks like his luck has finally run out, and we can't help but notice that Diddy always tried to make the guys who had something to do with the women around him gone. Such was the case with Kid Cutie, And such was the case with Al. Sure, Al had a thing going with Kim for the longest time, and he adopted Quincy, you can bet your bottom dollar. That Diddy felt some type of way about that too. Diddy thought he was untouchable for decades. He had the fame, the money, the lawyers, and the silence. But all that silence is getting real loud now. For years, folks whispered about him. Civil lawsuits would pop up and boom, settled people just assumed nothing would ever stick. But now, the Fed stepped in, and it's a whole new ball game. We're talking full-on RICO charges stuff they usually save for the mobbing racketeering tuition. They're not playing with him. And let's talk about Cassie. Her testimony shook the room. She's not just telling her story, she's laying it all out. 4 straight days on the stand. She said Diddy did her wrong physically, emotionally, you name it. She talked about being forced into these wild out freak-off parties and said he used threats and control to keep her in line. We're talking blackmail with explicit videos and even threats toward people she cared about, including Kid Cudi. And she didn't come alone. Her mom got up there too and confirmed what Cassie was going through, how scared she was, how Diddy tried to manipulate her with money. Even Cassie's best friend backed her up. This isn't just one woman pointing fingers. This is a whole support system exposing years of abuse. But that's just the beginning. Prosecutors say more people are coming forward. Former employees like Diddy's ex-assistant are spilling what they saw, everything from how those parties were set up to straight up witnessing. Don Richard testified to saying she saw Diddy get violent with Cassie and even experienced assault herself. And let's not forget the women known as Jane and Mia, who are expected to say they were and coerced into things they didn't agree to. And then there's the male escorts, yes, plural. They're set to give their side, how they were allegedly used for these parties, what they saw, who was there. It's sounding less like a party and more like a whole operation. Oh, and Kid Cudi is expected to take the stand about how Diddy threatened him just for dating Cassie. Now remember, this isn't a civil case. It's criminal. The government is involved, and there's no hush money to make this disappear, no private deals. This is happening out in the open. The trial isn't on camera, but media outlets are giving play-by-plays every day, and the details are getting more damning by the minute. So Diddy isn't dodging this one. Aura of invincibility is gone, and the industry silence is cracking. Whether he gets convicted or not, the image he built over the years is already in flames. And with more witnesses lined up and the trial pushing through June, this isn't blowing over anytime soon. So after Cassie took the stand and gave that bombshell testimony, Diddy's lawyers immediately jumped into defense mode. First of all, they're basically trying to spin the entire situation like it was just a super freaky, super messy, consensual relationship. They're saying Cassie wasn't used or coerced. She was just down for a swinger lifestyle. According to them, those freak-offs are just spicy bedroom fun between adults, nothing illegal, nothing forced. They're trying to paint it like this was just a wild love story that went south. But here's the thing, they know that alone ain't going to save him later. They started going after Cassie's credibility during cross-examination. They picked apart her timeline, trying to catch her slipping. They pointed out that she admitted to being intimate with Diddy even after some of trying to use that to make her look like she was lying or exaggerating. And then it gets messy. They're not denying that things got violent. They're just saying it was mutual. According to them, Cassie wasn't just a victim. She was also the aggressor at times. Diddy's team even pulled out receipts saying she was violent toward him too. But they didn't stop there. They also came for the supporting witnesses when Don Richard stepped up to defend Cassie and speak her truth. Did's lawyers went in on her too. They dug up old statements trying to expose contradictions and make her look unreliable in front of the jury. And Did's lead lawyer, Mark Agnifilo, is now crying about how all this testimony is prejudicial. He's saying the jury might get emotionally swayed by all these disturbing details and not actually focus on the facts of the case. So yeah, they're doing the absolute most swinging between it was all love, she's lying, and okay, maybe it happened, but she did stuff too. They're throwing out every narrative they can and hoping something sticks, but with more witnesses lined up and the feds watching like hawks, it's not looking good for Diddy. The trial is entering a Maycore breaking stage, and what's coming next is going to shake the table hard. Kid Cudi is about to hit that witness stand any day now. Coot is about to step into that courtroom and tell his side of the story. Also stepping back into the spotlight is Don Richard, and she's not just a background character in this drama. This woman already testified that she saw Diddy physically attack Cassie and said she herself experienced some of that nasty behavior too. Now she's coming back to the stand, and you know the defense is going to come at her hard, but Don, she's been through the Diddy machine. And we wouldn't be surprised if she drops more receipts this time around. Then we've got the mystery girls Jane and Mia, who are both set to testify. These women are expected to lay out their own experiences with a coercion and evening tied to Diddy. If their stories match up with Cassie's or add new layers, it could seriously seal the deal for the prosecution. But it doesn't stop at the victims. The witness list includes former assistant staff members and even male escorts who are reportedly involved in or witnessed those infamous freak-off parties. These people saw everything go down behind the scenes, so we're talking first-hand tea about what really went on in Diddy's inner circle now. Let's talk about the Fed's Homeland Security Special Agent Gerard Ganon has been on the stand testifying about what they found during that Miami raid. And the receipts are scary. We're talking weapons with scratched off serial numbers and other items that are directly tied to the and racketeering charges. This isn't just gossip anymore. This is federal level evidence, plus a forensic psychologist already laid it out for the jury, explaining why victims often stay in relationships. This is key for helping the jury understand why some of these women didn't leave or report things right away. And you know the prosecution is using that to strengthen their case. Meanwhile, Diddy's legal team is still trying to poke holes in every witness's story. They're coming with aggressive cross-examinations, trying to shake people up, catch inconsistencies, and make it all look like a revenge plot or money grab. And just a heads up, there are no cameras allowed in court, so we're getting all this info secondhand from reporters who are there live, but trust the details coming out are juicy enough to keep the blogs fed. So far, we're not even at the climax, yet there's still weeks left in this trial, and rumor has it there may be surprise witnesses and even more evidence on the way. It's like a real-life crime drama unfolding in slow motion. Don't be shocked if a few familiar names in the industry start shaking in their boots once that witness list keeps growing, so stay tuned, because this isn't just Diddy on trial anymore. It's his whole empire under the microscope, and with each day that passes, it's getting harder and harder to keep all the skeletons in the closet. Before you go, make sure to let us know how you feel about the Diddy trial, and if I'll Be Sure is going to testify against him in the end.